The Cosmos exhibition features three artists, the works of three artists. They are Margaret Nazon, who comes from outside of Inuvik. She's a wonderful beader, and she's making beaded images of outer space. And then I have two painters, Erik Olson, who is originally from Calgary and is in his 30s. And I also have the acrylic paintings on canvas by Gathie Falk, who's from Vancouver, and she's 90 years old. So there's quite an interesting mix of artists involved in the show. The theme of the exhibition is to look at how three artists are thinking about outer space, the night sky, galaxies, planets, nebula, dark holes, that kind of thing. And it's an unusual topic. Outer space as the theme is a theme that you don't see very often in contemporary art today. It just seems to be absent. And I also think that these artists have each taken a real interesting approach. They're not trying to replicate the planets or nebula or stars or galaxies or whatever according to what you see in a photograph. The way in which they interpret them is quite interesting. Bright Lights, Green City Nebula. That is a title that Margaret Nazon came up for. And this is a really spectacular piece of beading that she's done on a black background of twill, which is a kind of cotton fabric. And she, again, does a number of different types of techniques, netting, outline stitch. I mean, it's all, what you'll see is her conception of this particular nebula. A nebula is a kind of a formation of gas and dust that we see out in the universe. And she's particularly interested in nebula, and she's got some very beautiful greens in the work that she created. Erik Olson, the way he approaches his paintings, and they're very lushly painted, beautiful kinds of oils and colors and things like that, is he's primarily a portrait painter of people that he knows well. And he decided with the planets, he wanted to create a portrait for each one of those planets. So he's looked at pictures of Saturn, he's thought about how they appear in his own mind, how that planet appears in his own mind. And he's also really, really interested in the mythology behind the various planets. The Greeks and the Romans had some very interesting stories attached to these various bodies. And Erik has found a real interesting connection between these mythological stories and their geological properties. So for Saturn, for example, the Greek word for Saturn is Cronus, and Cronus was a god who was very unhappy about the idea of being succeeded by one of his male children. So whenever one would appear, he would swallow it up. And there's something similar about Saturn and its rings and its many, many moons. Eventually, because of the planet's enormous gravitational force, those rings, those moons will probably be swallowed up by the planet itself as well. That's going to take millions of years to happen, but that's what people think about it. Heavenly Bodies, again, number 20, features a number of stars in the sky, what I call Gathie Falk stars, because they are stars as she would see them from her own home in Vancouver. The skies are a little bit more mistier, things are a little bit hazier, that kind of thing. And Gathie Falk knows a fair bit about astronomy, but she wants to, in this series of paintings that we're going to be showing at Glenbow, the kind of awe that she feels for them. So these are totally imagined paintings about the night sky. The moon is another favorite topic of hers as well too, that she likes to paint as well. So I think people will be surprised at how she imagines the cosmos. One of the ideas behind Cosmos is, of course, Carl Sagan's fascinating television series that he did for PBS many years ago about outer space, the cosmos. And he made a statement about it that I think is really true. And he said that the cosmos is all there is, all there ever was, and all there ever will be. And I just like that idea that there's something much larger and bigger than ourselves or the planet Earth and whatever. And I think this is what these artists are responding to as well too. So hence the name Cosmos for the exhibition at Glenbow.